Thank you, Ryan. That's Ryan, Ryan Markey. He's our studio manager this morning, and we're greatly blessed to have him.
Yes, we are indeed.
This is Joanne Callan.
Good morning.
Lady of Mike. Lady of Destination Wellbeing.
Yes, indeed.
Lady of a beautiful blue sky summer morning in Uri.
Absolutely beautiful this morning, yes.
What do you,
Long may the sun continue
and do you
to
see,
shine today.
do you see the skyline at the horizon?
Yes.
Daisy Hill Wood.
Yes.
The lovely greens and browns and light greens and dark greens merging with the blue sky.
Yeah, I have to say I'm blessed with that view with Sleeve Gullion.
Oh, you have Gullion. Your garden is Gullion.
Yes, but all of like that, the colours of the trees and how they blend in, and sort of the moon or the mountain hitting the sky.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Beautiful.
It's great.
Beautiful.
It's great.
We live in a beautiful part of the world.
We do, and as you say, Gullion is there for you, and that there's a freshness of the air up around that part of the world.
Yes,
when you suck it in and blow it out, you know you're healthy.
Yeah,
that's
there's a difference. There's a freshness.
Where did you live before going out? You've only recently gone there.
Yes, only just recently. I'm originally from Bessbrook.
A Bessbrook girl,
but was living in Callan.
Yeah.
And have now moved to Mike.
Callan is very good, I have to say that, for certain reasons of historic romance. That's it.
Yeah, Callan. I mean, I think just generally we live in a really very special part of the world, and there is something definitely very special of the energy around Sleeve Gullion.
You think so?
I think so.
How do you sense that?
I suppose maybe it is the freshness of the air. There's a definite difference, but I think being surrounded by trees and things like that, you get that anyway. But
the house of the planter, surrounded by trees.
Yeah,
there's Tommy Macon saying that. Goodness gracious.
Yes, it is.
What have you been doing this week?
What have I been doing this week? I suppose it's been a fairly busy week. I had a positive birth group meeting last night, the first in the Newry Mourne area.
Wow. So, tell me about that. Positive birth group.
Positive birth. I suppose the idea behind the positive birth movement is to support women and couples through pregnancy and birth.
Why do couples need support? Now, maybe I'm being terribly old-fashioned here. Please forgive me, but I can understand women needing support. But what about the man?
Well, the man's there to support the woman. The man or partner or birth partner, their role is to support the woman. So,
which that's what I always did.
The more they can, the more they can be knowledgeable. I think
Sure, everybody knows how to do it.
Well,
you just are there helping them and saying, "Go on, you girl, you go on." And it's not quite like that.
No, it's not quite like that. And I think yes, intuitively people do know.
Yeah.
Our bodies are designed to birth, and that's women's bodies are designed to birth in the majority of cases.
Yes,
there's always exceptions to all rules, but for the vast majority, the bodies are designed to birth. But there's so much fear and worry, and I suppose the media like to do their job at portraying it as being difficult. I mean, even programmes like One Born Every Minute and things like that just put such an angle on it that is so true for so many women, but doesn't have to be. I suppose that's the idea behind the positive birth movement.
So what were you able to tell the women who came to you with this?
I suppose it's not so much. It's a conversation and it's a meeting that's facilitated rather than dictated. So it's a place where people can share. We've a mix. We had some parents or some women there who are currently breastfeeding, who've recently had babies. We had midwives. We had a lady who sits on the maternity strategy board, and we had some couples there as well who are due to have first and second and third babies. But it's really a sharing of knowledge, a sharing of information, letting women know that the key thing to make a birth a positive birth, because so many women don't have positive experiences, is that the woman feels informed, she feels in control, and she feels that she's part of the decision making rather than something being done to her against her will, that her body is as precious in a birth and room as it is any other time, and should be respected in that way, that it's not a case of things just being done to the woman. And very often, without knowledge and without support and without feeling that, women can often intuitively feel that what's happening is not right, but respect, and in a lot of cases rightly so, the medical profession, that they know better, and then they're not trusting what their body is telling them. So
medical, sometimes in the old days, you never said anything to the doctor.
Yeah.
But nowadays you ask, and you should ask.
And I think people should ask, but I think, and I suppose this doesn't tick the boxes of kind of the medical world, but a woman who's given birth will intuitively know how she feels herself. But that's something that you can't put machines to. You can't put figures on, which makes it very, very difficult to monitor, and difficult for people around her as well to think, actually, no, this woman feels okay. Can
it be like women are? I put the word in inverted commas. Tough in the sense that you endure many things in life. You endure your biological clock and the travails of that. You endure often being a weak partner in a horrible relationship that you can't get out of. We think of abuse, think of that. But at the same time, is there a strength in womanhood?
Yeah.
Like there's one of the photographs in my book, and the heading, the caption on the photograph just simply says, "I am Africa, mother of my world." And it's a 6-foot-tall woman standing like that in her African clothes, and her baby on her side. And it's a huge thing. And to me, it's a metaphor for the huge power of women in the world.
Yeah, and the African women probably, you're talking about 6 foot tall, and I don't think the strength has to necessarily be physical either. Or I think you can have strength regardless of size, but the metaphor is in that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And absolutely. I do definitely think. I think there are feminine strengths and there are masculine strengths, and I think we all have a mix of both, whether we're male or female. But I think intuition is one that is a feminine strength that often gets lost, and therefore when any person isn't being true to that intuitive, to what feels natural to them, then there's a possible sense of being disappointed or being let down, or things just not going the way they want. So that's something that's very positive for the Newry and Mourne area.
How did your red tent meeting go?
We had a lovely.
Do tell me about it.
Very lovely evening. It was a beautiful Friday evening. The weather was fantastic.
I will tell people first of all about what red tent is. It's an ancient.
It's an ancient tradition, and interestingly,
among the North American natives.
And as I'm learning, I suppose, more about it, probably more. There's also a Middle Eastern connection with it as well. And I've just finished reading the book, The Red Tent, which I would highly recommend. I presume from a male angle, maybe a sort of an unusual book to read, but from a female perspective, it's a very, very deep book, and portrays, I suppose, 4 different female archetypes in the wives of Jacob. And so it's a fiction story to a degree, based on really if the Bible had been written by women, what their perspective would have been, and the early New Testament. So the main story is the granddaughter of Jacob, who had 4 wives, and their interactions and how they connected and how it all interlinked and things like that. So very, very interesting book called The Red Tent. But the Red Tent, on the night, we met outside, so it was lovely. We were able to sit outside. It was a beautiful sunny evening.
Many had you got?
And I think there was about 10 or 11 women there.
My goodness.
We had one lady feeding a baby, so we had very newborn baby boy there. So he was introduced
The
to
only
the red
man
tent, the only
present.
man present. And we met and we sat.
He's lucky you didn't sacrifice him.
Not at all. We all cooed and cawed over.
I suppose you did,
over
yeah.
It, yeah.
Women
He had
cooed
lots
and
of
cawed.
attention and was passed
Yeah.
from one to the other. But
That's a nice thing.
it's
The notion
lovely,
of the
yeah.
passing of a baby one to the
Yeah,
other,
yeah.
and the mother trusting her
Peers
band of
to-
folk and
Yeah.
peers and comforters to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So, and we did a meditation for a few moments, and then each woman had an opportunity to speak if she wanted
Yeah.
or not. And the key thing about sitting in circle in the form of a red tent is that nobody responds. So whatever I say, no matter whether it's the saddest story or the most ridiculous supply, there's no response.
You
Which is,
internalize it, in a
well,
sense.
you put it out there
Yeah.
and you say it out.
But your friends
But-
internalize it.
Yeah, or just don't respond. And, we're very used to either getting sympathy or getting jeered at or so if I make a statement, most 90% of the time or 100% of the time there's a response from the other person.
I'd be going for you.
Yeah, or
supporting you, but
supporting
no.
me or saying, yeah, but that happened to you, but really hear what happened to me.
Oh,
and it becomes,
You have a sacred space.
yeah, so
that
the
you're allowed
space
in.
is there that, and you can also say, you're also free, obviously, to say, well, if I want, if anybody else has experiences that they can share that might help me with this, then that opportunity's there as well. But it's a space to speak, to be heard, and to just take some time to connect with yourself and
What's
take
on
a
the
little bit of
program
time.
today?
Today
3
we
o'clock,
have,
isn't it?
yes, 3 p.m. today. And we have
Steve, how are you? That's Steve. You see
Steve,
Steve there.
yes,
I'm
Steve's
so glad.
joined us.
I'm so glad to see that man. I wanted to ring him this morning, but I thought it was too early.
Too early,
and I would have
so now he
offended
has
him
appeared.
dreadfully. But it's good to see him.
So today's programme, I have Grania McNally on, and Grania and I will be chatting about safe cosmetics and some of the chemicals that are in
You see,
pretty much
I
all
belong.
of our
I
cosmetic
belong to a
products.
school of thought that says, "Oh, Ryan, we'll be playing music next. Will you be ready for music, please?" I belong to a school of thought that thinks women are best without cosmetics.
Well,
What's wrong with that?
yeah, no, absolutely nothing, and I support as natural beauty as possible. But it's not just makeup in terms of cosmetics, but it's all of the products that we use, everything from shower gels to hand soaps to, so I suppose cosmetics is one side of it, personal hygiene products,
Yeah.
all of that. And we've introduced so many chemicals into our lifestyles. I
wonder-
think since the end of World War II, there's between 70 and 100,000 different chemicals have been introduced in.
I've turned the clock back
Yeah.
this week, and Father Donal of Africa was up with me, a young Cork man, and we did our tour of our people in Northern Ireland and in the south of Ireland. And 2 days we were given magnificent gifts of £77,000 for our school project, in his school project. He has that away with him.
Yeah.
It was
Fantastic.
great altogether. But in my bathroom, he noticed a bar of carbolic soap. Now, carbolic soap was the stuff that my granny used to use when cleaning the front doorstep or whatever at home.
many
But I
uses.
found it over in McParlin's.
Yes.
And he said, "Ron, that red soap, it reminds me of when I was a boy. I'm going to get some of that so that I can take back to Africa. It'll be a good memory, away, way, way in the deep bush." But I use the carbolic soap, and I don't know what's in it, but there's probably fewer chemicals in it.
I would suspect so, yes. And I think,
Yeah.
we just, particularly, well, with all ages, but I think children, babies.
Oh, you couldn't
we
use
need-
carbolic on a baby.
No, you
You'd
wouldn't.
wear the baby away,
But what we do use on babies is baby wipes. And
which aren't good.
anybody that dyes their hair will know that their hairdresser will recommend that a baby wipe will remove hair dye. So for me, if something's strong enough to remove hair dye, which water won't and soap won't, and it's pretty difficult to remove. Then.
My old Auntie Minnie in Mary Street when I was a baby, it's legendary within the family. Well, I remember as I grew up, they used dried orange peel as firelighters.
Yeah.
But they had this notion that I was so ugly that they were going to do something with me. And folklore had it that if they took a wet nappy and washed one's face with it, they would enhance the
the appearance of the child.
That was done to me, for goodness sake. Goodness gracious. Listen, to remind, just you're on at 3 o'clock today.
3 o'clock today.
Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I think that's all well covered today.
Tell me
We've
about
covered
your
positive birth and red tent.
Yeah,
and
your wonderful fragrance. Tell me about that.
That's the I suppose now trademarked rose and geranium. So,
Rose and geranium all the time.
Yeah,
okay, Rosie Geranium, thank you so much
Thank
indeed.
you, Rowan.
God bless you. Go
God
well.
bless. Take care.
Some music for you.
Thank you.
Dancing where the stars calling, dancing where the evening fell.